Bhim Singh sir has been an active researcher, and he has guided almost 90 PhDs, about 170 MTech dissertations, and he has filed 57 patents also. And he has executed more than 80 sponsored and consultancy projects. Despite of this such a profile, he has been such a humble and a person with human touch. Recently, he had an interaction online with all of his 90 doctoral students whom he has guided. So you see how connected he has been with his students and how he has been guiding these students. His contributions have been recognized at all levels, national as well as international. He is the Fellow of Indian National Academy of Engineering, Fellow of the Indian National Science Academy, the National Academy of Sciences, the Indian Academy of Sciences, the World Academy of Sciences, the Fellow of IEEE. He is Fellow of IET, Fellow of IEE, and many other renowned organizations and institutions. He has received the Khosla Research Prize of University of Roorkee, J.C. Bose and Bimal K. Bose Awards of IETE, and he has received the Maharashtra State National Award of ISTE. He has received the PES Delhi Chapter Outstanding Engineer Award. He has received Khosla National Research Award of IIT Roorkee in the year 2013. He is recipient of Shri Om Prakash Bhasin Award 2014. He has received the IEEE PES Nari Hingorani Custom Power Award 2017. He has received Faculty Research Award as a most outstanding researcher in the field of engineering of Career 360 India. And he has received Sulochana and Colonel K. Krishnaswamy PSM Faculty Lifetime Research Award for overall research contributions at IIT Delhi. Sir has been recognized by many renowned, world-renowned international conferences as general chairs and co-chair. So, sir, this is a privilege for all of us that you have been able to find time, spare time for joining this program. This is, sir, FDP under scheme of AICTE, and we have around 175 participants of different backgrounds, and they have had some basic idea of the green energy sources, particularly the solar power. And we are happy that you will be sharing some insights into the other important green source of energy, that is electricity. I welcome you, sir, on behalf of all the organizers as well as the participants, and I request you to kindly start your talks.
Thank you very much, Professor. I mean, like it's my privilege, Professor Rehan. And well, I think it is okay that we first started typically in the wind. I think I can share my slide now. Can you see it now? Hello?
Visible? Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir, we can see.
yeah. So, well, good afternoon to all of you. I mean, like it's my privilege that I have been with you and Professor Rehan. After me for a long time. So I feel very happy to talk to you about, especially with the AMU. I have visited probably, I think, last 1 decade, maybe 4 or 5 times. So I have a great affection with the people there. They are dedicating to probably, especially the Department of Electrical Engineering, dedicating to very good quality students. Sometimes I have to probably interact that they have to come out of their typically kind of environment in the sense like interaction with other people and probably they are working very hard, many of them I know personally. So with this, of course, whatever the topic is given to, I like to justify it. With probably this small talk on that. I can tell you when we started probably around a decade before, it's probably little before than decade, that I was probably in a conference in IIT Roorkee, and I have to chair a session. My lot of colleagues, because I have been there 8 years as a student, as a faculty and earlier student. So they asked me to chair the session, and one person was presenting the paper, especially on DFIG. I will talk a little bit about that. And just I asked the question, so probably he got so vaccinated that he want to discuss with me. He requested both his guide. They were known to me personally. So I have a discussion with. I told I have not worked man in this, but he says the kind of question you ask. I got a lot of clues. So I can tell you why this renewable energy, especially the wind, came earlier than the solar. Typically, the two incidents which usually I mention it, I mean, happened in the probably around, you can call it like early 2000, very close to around year 2000 or later, that in US, I mean, like energy crisis came, that suddenly the petroleum price has gone from 37 barrel to 138 barrel within a 1 week, where the lot of, you can call it the world intellectuals of every kind, technologists, economists, are there in US, but they couldn't even sense how this the energy, especially the petroleum energy, suddenly will make a jump of the prices around 3 to 4 times, where you can call it the inflation level is almost like a negative, in the sense that even the bank charge the money if you want to keep the money in the bank, not giving you interest at all. So in such a country, if the suddenly some commodity increase to 3 to 4 times the prices within a week, you can understand it means this is the probably the requirement, and that's open the world mind probably around across the world. So that was one incident. The second incidents have been when USSR broken into different countries like their state. I mean, like, so, well, I think the East Germany, which was earlier the part of separate country and getting the most of the energy from typically from USSR, many states, those who are country now, they start the pipeline. You can think about, let us say we are getting a pipeline from Iran via our nearby friend, another country, and they suddenly stop the gas pipeline. What will happen to the people getting energy here? So exactly same thing happen, and you are living in a heaven in a country like India, where you can live without clothes, without house. I mean, like, but it's not like in Germany, which is a cold country. I mean, people will die in few hours, like if the probably heating or the energy is not there. So they have to think within very quickly about the energy. So first they think about the wind energy. The reason being that why wind energy? Because the technology was already there. Of course, I mean, like even if I found in 92 or 91, Okhalamba Dwarka in Gujarat. I mean, like my one of the professor who was director IDA, Professor Murthy, he arranged our visit to see the wind farm. Because one of the research scholar he put on wind energy of grid interface, so he wanted that I should also see that, and he arranged some short-term course at IDA and then facilitated to see these all practical installation. So, I mean, in 1990, when the India installation have been there from Denmark for these all wind energy conversion system, and so it means technology was there, and still that technology is still surviving. It's a mainly the squirrel cage induction generator connected to the grid with no controller. Only if there have been a controller of power electronics, it was only AC voltage controller for soft start of this induction generator. It's a squirrel cage induction generator, two induction generator, 40 kilowatt, 200 kilowatt typically, I think 220 if I am correctly remember, and there have been a 50 installation, I mean, like typically there in that park. So there have been so many parks in coastal areas of Gujarat, like, but the technology which was there in 90s, I mean year 2000, when there was a need of the Germany, I told you these two incidences. I mean, the technology really revamped in wind energy also. I mean, you can say like if technology already built up in 1990 or so or much before, what is the new it has been in the last 30, I mean, 30 to 30 years after typically year 2000. There have been a lot of innovation. I'll say light of innovation in the sense like you start putting all the electrical machines other than DC machine into wind energy conversion system, and especially the more important have been in wind energy conversion system, typically the variable wind speed generation. So variable wind speed generation, why we have a variable speed wind generation? I mean, the reason being that from same wind potential, you can generate the around 50 to 60% more energy from same wind blowing. So if it is a technology give you 50 to 60% more energy, and you cannot deny the technology in the sense that the payback may be only few months of the technology. I mean, otherwise this technology have been very sophisticated when you start using any generator other than DC generator, whether it is a conventional synchronous generator of cell and pole, obviously cell and pole have to be used, but it is a very low speed. I mean, the speed varies from typically around 75 to 150 RPM or 200 RPM of the wind turbine. So when once you have a, or even a around 50 to, I mean 150 RPM, not more than that or something. So when you have a such a low speed, I mean the which machine qualifies? So out of course synchronous machine is a cell and pole synchronous machine which even a industry were manufacturing in India and importing to probably all part of the world, like I mean typically. So and you can think about like the technology have to be scaled down. So we were having wind, you can call it that your cell and pole synchronous machine of 265 megawatt even in BHL, we have to scale down to order of 2 to 6 megawatt only. Apart from that, we have a HVDC converter of quite large rating, and world level it is around 3000 megawatt, like 3 gigawatt kind of. I mean, you can call it HVDC converter, which have to be scaled down to again 2 to 6 megawatt. So it didn't took much time to convert this technology, typically like a conventional cylinder pore machine. And apart from that, many other machines like your permanent machine, and the machine which I really will talk about a little bit is the DFIG, which we have forgotten almost like around typically 75 to year 80. I mean, like 70 or 1980, after that to 2000, we really forget that machine, especially the wound rotor induction machine, because we have a solid state converter in 1980 or after that. And then we start using a squirrel cage induction motor with the variable frequency dynamic for operating most of the applications. So we are not preferring certainly the wound rotor induction machine for motoring version, and whatever motoring version have been, it has been less than 1 megawatt for motoring. With the most of you might have studied called, you can call it slip recovery dive, another kind of control. But here in 2000 in India itself, I mean, the GE in Bangalore brought this technology for wind power generation. I mean, order of 2 megawatt. Of course, the units are manufactured even of 50 kilowatt or even higher, or it gone to even a 6 megawatt. I mean, the laboratory level gone to 8 megawatt, but I mean, 2 to 6 megawatt are very common for high power level, and considered to one of the best machine for wind power generation. So it is a revamping after 25 years. The technology came only for called DFIG, and the machine manufactured is around 6 megawatt now, where the motoring have not been more than 1 megawatt, even like a 750 horsepower. I mean, like 900 horsepower, not more than that. But here it goes like starting from 2 megawatt to typically it has gone to 6 megawatt of that. So we'll come out anyhow that, and it has seen the substantial, I mean, like a growth in the world across. So out of renewable, which Indian government and also federal government have decided to go 175 gigawatt. I mean, even wind also a reasonable potential. You will find all these are the kind of some of the renewable, like you can think about. I mean, like, and the reason have been why you have to go renewable. It is very common. You might have gone through. I think most of the people could have talked about the solar. So same. I mean, most of the reason go for wind also, like typically. So these are the some of the, you can call it the renewable, like a solar, then probably wind of both kind, onshore and offshore, as well as the like a typically hydro and especially small hydro. Like, so you can call it in India also. I mean, like when we want like a probably the wind also to grow reasonable. I mean, the target was there even for wind also typically going to be initially of 100 gigawatt, but the growth have been little slow down, and we are able to achieve around I mean, touching almost like a 40 gigawatt of the wind also today installed capacity in India. Like, I mean, okay, also. So this is I mean, the wind is coming, the energy coming from the nature. Unfortunately, we have a wind, substantial wind in many states, especially coastal areas like Gujarat, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu especially. I mean, like, or as well as the typically other than Tamil Nadu, it has been Kerala. So all the coastal areas have a lot of wind, but unfortunately we don't have a probably the sea or lake where we can put the wind turbine, which have been in the Europe. Europe have a very calm lake or sea, as well as the North America have a calm lake and sea. Like you think about like from if you might have travel from Toronto to especially the Niagara Falls around 120 kilometers, and there is a big lake. I mean, probably you might have several gigawatt generation from same one lake itself. So they have such a natural resources, wind, I mean, which are very calm. There is no like a flood there. There is no kind of like a tide there in those lake. And even in North America, almost like a, I mean, most of the city are having the lakes, big lake. I mean, like if you talk about, typically Madison, University of Wisconsin, which might have which have a very big lake. So you will find, if many of you might have visited North America, either especially Canada and US, they have a substantial lake, as well as Europe also. Europe have a calm sea, I mean ocean, I mean, like, and that was the reason why HVDC also came in typically the Europe, like. So they have, but we still have a low potential of the wind like in Rajasthan, but many states like which are having a coastal area, we have a very good wind potential like also. So that has given the birth like why we have to go, I mean, wind energy conversion system, and it came before the solar because technology was already developed. I mean, we were developing only we have to scale down the technology or to prove the technology for wind generation system like. So of course the wind typically convert kinetic energy of the wind to electrical energy and serve the renewable as a choice like I told you, in typically in Europe and typically in US, and it has a very typically now high size also. A lot of research have gone, and it had been typically the potential that still we are not able to utilize the full wind like. So very concept have been like we have a wind turbine, I told you, variable speed, and you have a like a kind of a DC you can think about, because it's a variable speed, so means variable voltage or DC you can get it, and then you have an inverter to put to the grid. Maybe many, of course I will discuss with the machine and what kind of the configuration you will require, and you can put to the grid. Standalone operation also of this wind generation also. In some of the applications I will talk about may not be high power like telecom tower or others in the state where. So some of the pros and cons, small land requirement where compared solar and hydro require reasonably large and can build offshore also and fluctuate less than solar. And of course it is cheaper. At that time it was cheaper than solar, but of course now it is very competitive with the solar itself. Like solar is also coming down like. So premium onshore site, I mean, like of course, these are the some of the issues like you can think about. Like I mean, also, so wind energy, the world fastest growing energy source. It is a clean and renewable energy of has been in use for centuries in Europe and North America, and it is today world. The wind is one of the cheapest and cleanest energy, renewable energy. Like this is the data that at the world capacity of wind generation have been 622
Sir,
gigawatt in.
voice is not audible, sir.
Oh, it's not coming. Okay. Uh, it's not coming the voice. Hello.
No, sir, voice is coming.
Yeah.
Please check your internet connection. Sir's voice is clear.
Now it is okay? Or maybe I have to probably avoid them. Like,
Sir,
Sir, it is okay, sir.
okay. Okay. So anyhow, worldwide capacity reached around 622 gigawatt by the year end of 22,000. I mean, like which were so much around 60 gigawatt added, almost around 60 in 2019, with 19% increase. I mean, like typically from 2018. So this had seen the growth of substantial. And India also we have a now around 37.7 gigawatt in March 2020. Like that's the data available from the site, and this is all talking about the data. I mean, like I can probably skip it if I will leave the slide, or you might be recording, so you can just have it. Typically, I mean, these are the some of the data from different state and how it is going to be like in different years. It has been all around the world, and in the especially how the growth in India have been there, like typical. So it's still growing. I mean, like reasonably well. I mean, like also, and different part of the state you can just see how the typically the wind potential have been there in the different. So Gujarat typically have a Tamil Nadu have a highest, then followed by Gujarat, then typically Maharashtra and Karnataka, Rajasthan, as well as you have something like typically in the Andhra as a percentage of total capacity of India. So certainly some states are smaller in size, and today it is like in March have been 37.7 gigawatt as the MNRE reported on their website. Like so coming to like think about the technology, how many industry are there? Like you can think about if you talk about like a thermal, you'll find only few industry are manufacturing in India. Like maybe you can talk about name only BHL or maybe some private. But if you talk about the world level, the wind generations, how many? I mean, like Vestas, Enercon. Enercon is manufacturing the machine in India. I mean, like especially cylinder pole synchronous machine for wind generation and exporting also, like typically. Then you have a G. So these are some of the industry which are there. Multi-world. I mean, these are the some of the names which are in. I mean, like in wind generation, like. And these are the some of the you can call it the type like a Geopos, GE, Siemens, Vestas, RE Power, Multibird, and Enercon. These are the leading industry. There are a lot of industry otherwise, and these are the some of their model starting from 2 megawatt to going to be like around 6 megawatt of Enercon. Like you can think about the different models, what they name their own model in the capacity, and what is the concept of there that you have a gearless because they are using PMSG. Okay, they are also using gearless because they are using, I mean, typically a conventional cylinder pole synchronous machine. So, however, you will find many are using like a single stage gear. But if you look into DFIG, which is 3-stage gear, or squirrel cage machine with double converter, or even DFIG also double converter, all the machine use the double converter. But of course, in DFIG, converter rating are smaller compared to in all these. The reason being like Why we have a double converter? Because I told you like you have a variable speed, and from variable speed, if you want to feed to the grid, then you have to convert first into DC and put to the grid. It's only the DFIG which require converter rating is small and stator connected directly to the grid. But by rotor, you have a slip recovery drive, which facilitate to you for wind generation. I mean, like very easily with very less converter rating. Now it has some beauty. We'll talk about when I will come to that. And they are using 4-quadrant. All are using 4-quadrant converter. So up to certain rating, we have IGCT, IGBT. Normally, we are using IGBT with 1.8 kilohertz because rating is not much higher in DFIG. But some are using typically IGCT or typically the GTO. But IGBT is slowly increasing. And this is the rotor diameter. You can think about like a diameter of 114 meter or 116 meter of 5 to 6 megawatt wind turbine or 126 meter like with a machine of DFIG. So this is typical, just to give you idea for offshore. I mean, like how it comes with the different industry and what kind of the technology are using. So you have a PMSD, you have a DFIG, you have a squirrel cage machine. Okay, you have a typically even a silent pole synchronous machine also. So you can think about like we are using both the induction machine. We are using virtually, I mean, PMSD as well as the silent pole synchronous machine. So we are using both kind of the synchronous machine with the permanent synchronous generator as well as the separately excited silent pole synchronous machine, and we are using of course the DFIG as well as the squirrel cage generator. So they are using like of different industries. These are the some of the data which I mentioned that what are the models Siemens are manufacturing, starting from typically 7 megawatt PMS permanent synchronous generator of 7 megawatt. Of course, lesser than that, they have several models, but they are using like a typically of, I mean, even a squirrel cage induction generator also. I mean, like Siemens have a, I mean, all the PM, you can call it permanent synchronous generator. They are using like a typically like a synchronous generator also. Direct drive means you are not using the gear, otherwise you are using single stage gear or something like that. And then Vestas having a DFIG, okay, and yeah, typically varying from. You can think about going to be like a 2 megawatt to 8 megawatt order of that. Then you are using a Exmet Darwin, so you are using PMSG, Avera, PMSG, and Sevenson, the DFIG. So DFIG you can find reasonably large up to this is also 6.15 megawatt. Like you can see the DFIG of here. So these are the some of the idea of dimensions. What is the RPM? What is the speed and all that they are having. G Astom G. I mean G are using like a DFIG also. They are using a PMSG also. I mean, like, so in different model, they are using like a G is using over a wide range up to 5 megawatt DFIG again here or so. And even they are using the PMSG also up to 6 megawatt, like this G typically. So G have a very wide range you can think about, and both the technology, PMSG as well as DFI they are using. And Barwind also DFIG. Enercon, they are using silent pole conventional synchronous generator, of course, in variable speed. And the power generation you can think about order of about like a typically even 7.58 megawatt order of that. That is the highest capacity you can think about. What is the speed range and all that. And Gamesa, PMSG as well as DFIG. So well, similarly like your PMSG asynchronous generator means virtually you can call it is a squirrel cage generator with dual speed like a, that is a conventional method which I mentioned. The machine of 200 to 250 kilowatt with the 40 to 50 kilowatt. Two machines are there. When wind speed is lower, you operate with the 40 to 50 kilowatt machine, squirrel cage machine. When speed is higher, you operate with 200 to 250 kilowatt. Like so, that's something like how it is the hub height and all those that are given. Like so, NPAC, I mean they are developing that. Then of course induction type. Then you have other industry, lot of industry you can think about in different poles they are manufacturing, like seeing PMSG. So you can call it like all. I mean all the Suzlon also have a like a typically you can call it. They are using DFIG also. They are using induction squirrel cage induction generator also with double converter and all that as well as dual machine kind of. I mean also. Well, you have a two of wind turbine. That is about the idea to give you what are the industry at world level. There are two kind of turbine. One is horizontal axis, another is a vertical axis.
Sir, please share the screen, sir. Please
Hello?
share the screen, sir.
Screen is not coming?
Yes, sir. Screen is not visible, sir. Earlier it was visible, but now it is not visible.
So now it is there? No. Hello?
It will take some time. It is not visible now.
Oh, it's not. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Just wait for 4 or 5 seconds, I think then.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think
Only
it is
your video is coming, sir. Screen is not sharing.
little slow. I mean, wherever I have to give more stress, I will stay back for maybe 5 to 10 seconds. Okay, but voice is clear now.
Sir, your voice is clear. You are audible. But actually, if screen will be there, if PPT will be there, we will be able to understand in a better way.
So screen is there now? No.
No, sir, no screen. Only video is there. And
No, you can see video now? No.
नहीं अभी भी नहीं है.
I don't know why. I mean, like.
एक बार फिर से शेयर कर दीजिए सर.
Oh, okay. A net problem. I mean, I don't know. Like. It's okay now, not yet. Hello, can you see the screen? No.
No, sir, no. Yeah, it is showing that, sir, because of low internet connection, it is present the screen.
Better to disconnect and reconnect again, sir.
No, I mean, like, I'm scared that if I really disconnect completely, then. Nowadays, network connection is also a major issue. Or I will do with the. Anyhow, good afternoon. Maybe I will be able to try to cover it. Okay. So we were discussing about two kind of vertical turbine. Okay. One is horizontal, another is vertical. Okay. And these are, of course, you can see just diagram, but you can see physical turbine by Weaker. I mean, like in Canada, in Quebec, they installed in 1984. Of both turbine, you can see the wind turbine. This is what called your vertical, and this is horizontal. The vertical is more popular, like in a sandy area, like where maybe some you have a lot of sands and all that, because sand does not stop, and they are not so successful in the sandy area. So both kind of turbine are practically used, like in wind power generation or so. Like, well, so that is about the typically the wind farm. Some of the installation, it has been the power rating with 8 gigawatt in typically in China. I mean, they start in Gansu, and this is another in you can think about like a in the sea offshore farm. I mean, like where you have a 1.2 gigawatt, you have a 7 megawatt 174 turbine in UK installed in 2020. I mean, how it is looks like in the you have in typically in the sea. I mean, like so these are typical example. I ask my student to put like a so that you get a feel where it is like. So it is just installed in 2020 only, like also 1.2 gigawatt with 174 turbine of this like. So you have a like a typically what was the motivation to go for this wind? It is a sort of conventional, and I think this is all already we talked about. So I will probably divide it talk a little bit like most of the work on grid connected, but I would like to introduce a little bit of maybe a standalone in the sense which are used. You have an upcoming practical application in India also of those. So maybe a little bit I will talk about that. So there are challenges, of course, for grid integration. I mean, typically with the variable speed and all those, and the initially what it has been like a squirrel cage induction generator connected to the grid well with the energy conversion system directly of this way, and this is typically variable speed by Enercon. I told you Enercon largest they put in 2008, 6 megawatt. The Enercon is manufacturing the cell and pole synchronous machine even without gear, and this is a model E126 with variable speed. They have to scale down the technology. I mean, like a typically you can think about the cell and pole machine already built up in India also, even for your water wheel generator. I mean, like of 265 megawatt around 300 rpm, but they have to reduce the speed of 50 to very low speed around 50 to 75 rpm out of that, and they use the typically a machine with the 12 pulse converter, which normally are used in HVDC kind of things. Like so, Enercon have been manufacturing this machine in India itself. Like I mean, in somewhere in the Maharashtra probably. I mean, they have a plant. Like I mean also. So this is another multi-bird PMSG, one of the largest by PMSG. I mean the photograph I asked only put limited of every kind of machine, so that I mean the people have a feel like okay, what are the machine are available. And I mean normally you consider PMSG are a small rating, but this is a 5 megawatt, of course with the double converter. I mean installed in 2004, typically 4. Like I mean also by multi-bird company. Like and this is like again you can think about largest offshore wind farm of 166 earlier, but just now I saw the photo of 1.2 megawatt. This is Siemens. You can call it the squirrel cage induction header with the 4-pole and 6-pole configuration 1500 and 1000 rpm, and having a machine of 2.3 megawatt and 400 kilowatt or 0.4 megawatt 50 years. So Siemens is manufacturing with the 2 machine of squirrel cage machine. It does not have any control, but since you are using a 2 machine at 2 different speed, you are able to have up to some extent, I mean, little bit advantage of maximum power tracking also in that. Otherwise, all machines are using. So Siemens is manufacturing still the squirrel cage machine without any converter, with 2 machine on same shaft. That is the configuration, that you have a squirrel cage machine with the gear, of course 3-stage gear, and then you have a soft starter with the capacitor bank connected of typical suitable value, so that the excitation is not coming from the grid. Like I mean even in case of both the machines. Like I mean also the advantage are simple and low cost. It's quite cheap and low maintenance. The major drawback, low wind energy conversion, because you're not having a variable speed over a wide range, only 2 speed you are exploiting, and of course it has a poor power factor. That's why you have to keep a capacitor, because the squirrel cage machine connected to the grid operating at variable power. So if power is less, you can understand the induction machine, it produces very low power factor goes poor, so you have to meet the reactive power requirement by capacitor bank locally. Like also, so that is about the fixed speed generation. Now variable speed generation, of course the MPPT, I mean has come in the past couple of decades, which I told you, like all are using variable speed generation today. So it can generate you 50 to 60% more energy. Like typically that's the reason. Like these are the some of the calculation for. I mean I can skip it. I mean I will leave the slide so you can have a look of examples of typically like. So in case of this, why we have a maximum speed here, also you have a 2 kind of maximum power tracking as you have in solar. The one is that your tip pitch ratio means mechanical arrangement. As you have in solar also, you have to keep a panel towards the sun. Here also we have a tip pitch speed variation for maximum power. Another of course have been electrical maximum power tracking, which you have to force the generator to operate at particular speed corresponding to wind speed. So find out the maximum operating point, you require the wind speed, then rotor speed, rotor characteristic, and generator characteristic. Like so, this is the typical characteristic you can think about of. I mean where you can have a by wind the maximum generation. Okay, corresponding to different speed, rotational speed. That's the speed you can call it of, like even with the gear, the rotational speed of the machine. I mean like, and at which speed why should rotate for maximum power, because you want to have the peak extraction from here. Like why 2 characteristics are there, one with losses, another without losses, kind of things like also. But of course you can understand if you generate at fixed speed, I'll show you some characteristic you will not be able to. Like typically if you talk about this, I mean here it is the shaft speed, this is the power. So if you really look into it, here if you take a maximum power at this speed, that is 12 meter per second. But if you are operating a wind turbine, let's say at 5 meter per second, you will not be able to generate any power. But if you vary the speed, you can think about like you will be able to generate typically around 100 kilowatt hour or so. I mean this is in typically like your around multiply 2000, so you'll be able to have around typically around 200 kilowatt if you operate like at variable speed and you operate at typically at 1000 rpm. If it is like a typically 2000 rpm here at highest the speed. Like So I mean, it's something like for DFIG, you have 1000 RPM to 2000 RPM, so you vary the speed in that region. Like why it has been only such narrow variation? This really favors the especially DFIG because the power generated is proportional to speed cube. I mean, that's the reason it varies from 1000 to 2000. I mean, that is the enough speed even for varying from 5 meters per second to like a 12 meters per second, maybe cut in and cut out. Even if it goes lower, the speed remains around that only. I mean, like also this characteristic well explain why you have to vary the speed of the typically of your generator, because turbine speed should vary over this range. If and these are the wind characteristic. I mean, power from the wind turbine by operating at different wind speed. So this explain why we have a really MPPT for by operating at different speed, variable speed, the generator as well as turbine. So this is wind and turbine speed, you can call it. I mean, it's virtually a turbine speed with the or generator speed with the 3-stage gear, like if you talk about DFIG as a base, like I mean also. So for optimum operation of wind turbine, rotational speed of the wind turbine rotor should be changed according to the variation of wind speed. So rate change of rotational speed and wind turbine output is like interlaced with the turbine mechanical aerodynamic and all these change. So these are the typically how dynamics are associated here and prediction methods, and people use a lot of techniques for wind prediction and wind speed variations also, and then the typical kind of control, how you really accelerate, how you de-accelerate, all those kind of characteristic is required. So you require a closed loop, you require a wind speed directly or indirectly, the wind speed, and then you take a from wind speed like a or turbine speed, and then you have a controller which responsible for MPPT, and you are able to have like a wind energy conversion system for this generation. Like I mean, so I mean typically looks like a, from the sometimes you use the lookup table, sometimes you use the characteristic. So different kind of control are there. People use predictive method and other methods. I mean for. So if you take a simple 12 gauge induction machine, of course you have a 3-stage gear here. So you require 2 full power converter. I mean, like normally the converter can be either voltage source converter or it can be current source converter. Here it is a voltage source converter because it's symbolic of 2 voltage source converter, because you have a capacitor on DC link which so this is a variable speed, and this is of variable speed. The generator runs at variable speed, so it generates variable frequency, and it is a fixed frequency connected to the grid, and you have a 2 voltage source converter. So it operates directly in sensorless vector control. You don't require typically the generator speed or the typically, and you can extract even, you can estimate the power here, because I mean in this case also when voltage source converter is used as a kind of here as a rectifier like a VSC, you can have easily MPPT from it, and you can estimate the power coming to this, and you can maximize the power with proper control of the speed in closed loop. So in that case, now a lot of innovation have come. Neither you have to look into a wind speed, nor the you have to measure the typically the rotary speed of the turbine or generator. You can estimate everything from electrical parameters and control this converter in a manner that you extract the maximum power from here. And the DC linkage control, of course, by the second converter which is interfaced to the grid, because this converter will be able to know how much power is coming by only on the DC link. So you have to keep a DC link voltage control, I mean like in a way that as much power is coming, that much power you have to transfer to the grid. Like that. So it uses the full rating converters, I mean in this system to operate as a variable speed, but of course speed range can be quite large. It's a very simple to understand. People have used the vector control for this purpose, because well established technology even from typically in 1980 people implemented vector control of induction machine. I mean if you are able to operate motor, you can easily operate the generator also. Apart from that, people have used the direct power control. I mean in motor we call it the direct torque control, which we have developed, but in case of generator we call it direct power control. So that technique also, I mean, easily used like by a lot of even many students have used that concept, and to push the power to the grid. Like I mean, here of course the rating of this converter have to be little larger, because it is supposed to provide the reactive power also to the generator apart from taking active power compared to other machines like also. So it has the advantage like you can have optimum power control with a proper control, and you can have a very wide speed range even up to 100%, because you can operate the induction generator with the inverter system and speed good connection. However, disadvantage, you have a full rating converter rating of both the converter. Why it is considered to be one of the disadvantage? Because you have another choice with you where the converter rating is small, and of course because of this is considered to be expensive. Like so people use, of course, the other converters are also matrix converter, but they didn't go commercially. The commercially only voltage source converter are there. People try even the I mean, the of course relative advantage, disadvantage. So this is people use the current source converter also. I mean, this is PWM current source converter. I mean, that technology is also run because DC link you have a current source, and this runs in PWM, low frequency PWM, and of course these current here as well as here will be PWM, but because of the capacitor, these current will be continuous sinusoidal. And even if you keep a low frequency PWM like a typically around 9 times the frequency, you'll be able to reduce the harmonic substantially large, and you can easily operate. I mean, like typically this in vector control, and this can operate easily at unity power factor. So current source also people thought of using with the GTO, of course with the GTO, because GTO don't need the typically series diode. I mean, if you are using IGBT, you need the series diode. So people develop it, I mean, for this version. But of course, voltage source converter have taken a lead. Why voltage source converter taken lead? Because here on DC link, not a inductor which is bulky, costly, lossy. They, I mean, in case of VSI, it is only a dielectric capacitor which is cheaper, lighter, as well as there is not loss. I mean, loss also in dielectric loss in capacitor compared to inductor. Apart from that, these capacitors are not required in case of voltage source converter because the winding inductance is enough here to work as a filter, and this side the transformer inductance or leakage reactance is enough to work as a filter, like also. So this is simple control how it goes. I mean, I will talk about maybe more detail in control, but it's a very simple control. You are operating in vector control mode, and that is the two-axis theory. Again, you use the synchronous rotating reference frame for vector control, and this side also use again the vector control because you can easily access typically. I mean, like you can have a reactive power zero also, like kind of things like that. So that is how it's a control if current source are there. Well, the GE have developed it like a typically DFIG, doubly fed induction generator. They put first time, I mean, in Canada 1.5 megawatt turbine. The technology got developed in India in Bangalore first time in 2000, around year 2000, and they put this in installation, fee installation. GE base in North, especially Canada, is very strong. So they are able to put in Canada this wind turbine of typically 1.5 megawatt using doubly fed induction generator with one rotor induction machine like also. And of course, Vestas used the 2 megawatt in offshore. So this was on, you can call it on the ground, and this is in offshore, means in the, typically you can call it in the UK, and later on, I mean, free photograph. So Vestas pushed it. So this was, previous was G, now this is Vestas, and 75% industry in the world, they are of course going to be DFIG. I can tell you, like the offshore wind or onshore wind, both are used by DFIG also. I'll go, RE Power used that 5 megawatt in, typically in Scottish North Sea, again the offshore wind of 5 megawatt each turbine by RE Power, and again DFIG typically. So now why DFIG? I don't know many of you are aware or not. We use the 3-stage gear here because the wind turbine speed is very low. I told you order of 50 RPM, but the speed of this DFIG have to be like 1000 RPM to 2000 RPM, and that is the reason the speed varies. I mean, slip varies from 30% to plus minus 30%. The speed is from 70% to 130% of the synchronous speed. So it comes around like a 30% slip. Means if 4-pole machine is there, normally 4-pole machine is used. It's a 50 hertz 4-pole machine. The synchronous speed comes 1500 RPM. So the 70% will be 1050, and 130% will be around typically order of you can call it 30% of like a 1500 will be like a your 1950 or around typically 2000. So 1000 to 2000 is the typical speed range. I mean there. But why this speed? This is enough for wind generation. Now you consider the case like because the power generated from this wind, it works like a fan, the wind turbine. The power of the such kind of wind turbine is proportional to the cube of speed. So if you have a highest speed of 130%, I mean like a 1.3 kind of per unit of your synchronous speed, that is the highest rating. Now you can do the cube 1.3. Can you think about what will be the root of, cube root of cube of 1.3? This will be 2.16, and if you take a cube of 0.7, that will be like typically around, you can see 0.449 into 0.7, so it will be like a amount 0.34 or so. So 30, I mean it goes like a around, I mean like a 35%. It is like a 2.16. So 35% of 216%. If you divide it, it will remain only 16 to 17%. So 16-70% maybe the losses. That's the reason you know to go very low speed. compared to if you consider the rated is 2.16. I mean, typically of 1.3, that will be 2.16. So 2.16 may be the rated, let's say the power, then you require only the speed of around 70%. So this is a very good for wind. Typically wind application, it suits very well. I mean the variation. The why DFIG? I mean that you have to look into. The reason being this DFIG normally induction machine are made with a power factor of around 0.8 to 0.85. And you operate the stator at unity power factor. So reactive power is given from the rotor side. Why we give the reactive power from rotor side? If you give the reactive power from rotor side, the reactive power is the slip times the reactive power what you inject from the stator. And now you know slip is 30%. So it means the reactive power also what, if you want to give a reactive power from stator, you have to give, let us say 100% air, here you have to give only 30% power only. That is a major benefit, the requirement of reactive power, amount of reactive power reduces if you want to give from the rotor side. And stator power factor is unity. So in place, if it is a point, I mean compared to 0.8 power factor on stator, it is 1 point, if unity, you will be able to generate around 120 to 125% directly from the stator, corresponding to 130% speed, maximum power. And typically like your, because machine is operating your 30% slip, able to follow. So 30% of that 120% or 125% you can generate from there. So 30% of 125 means around 35% power you generate from here, 120% you generate from here. So the machine is capable. I mean, let's say if you have around 150%, so if you have a turbine of 1.5 megawatt, you have to take generator of only 1 megawatt. The losses are 1 megawatt, but it's generating 1.5 megawatt. The efficiency of this machine, because of this reason, you are not exceeding neither the voltage nor the current of stator and rotor. Mind it. So neither the core losses are increased nor the winding losses are increased. So losses are correspond to 1 megawatt. Power generation is 1.5 megawatt. Machine is quite safe because losses you are not going more than rated, and it generates around 50% more power. So it supersedes the efficiency of your conventional synchronous generator also. That is the reason this DFIG really preferred in this application. And this is 150%, I mean around 120% power you are directly connecting to the grid without power electronics. It's only like a 30% power you are exchanging through, I mean at highest speed it will come power to via these converter to the grid. But if you are operating 70%, 30% power circulate in this way into this. Here of course you will get 100, but 30% will be circulated like this. But the question is, it's a straightforward, very simple. I mean converter required is only around 40%, only 80%, where the converter, if you use this 12 gauge machine, you require a converter of more than 200%. Two converter 100%, one converter more than 100%, because that gives the reactive power. So because of this reason, this technology, I mean, and more of these converter, because it like a rotor is normally of low voltage compared to stator voltage, and it runs only 30% slip. So if you consider the rotor voltage is half, and you operate 30% slip, so 0.3 into half, 0.5, you are only 15% voltage rating of these converter compared to the voltage on stator side. So 15% voltage means virtually voltage rating of the devices will be quite low. Current is also not going to be like a very high, because the power associated on the rotor is hardly 35% or so. So converter rating will reduce drastically down, voltage and current rating both of these converters. So that makes this as a cost effective, and even for very large rating, we are not going very high switching frequency of IGBT. Only 1.8 kilowatt is more than enough to reduce the DAT level of rotor current as well as of this side current. I mean much lesser than 5%. So that is the major benefit. One benefit, the machine efficiency is improved. You are generating 150% power, but losses is corresponding to 100%. That is one reason. Another is the converter rating is hardly 1/3. Here could have been a 210%. You are just keeping like a typically around 70% power rating here only. So 1/3 is the converter rating. That is another benefit of it. And it typically the speed range suits very well for this purpose, like also. So that is the reason we prefer like a typically the DFI doubly fed induction generator, which was forgotten around for quarter century as far as motor is concerned. But in 2002, the GE again retrieved it, and now 75% industry of wind generation are using this machine for wind power generation, because it does not use the magnet. Its converter power electrons rating is quite small, and you take all the benefit of maximum power tracking in this DFIG also. Of course, I got motivated. I told you probably around decade before. Earlier, I have not worked on the wind, but we started the work certainly with the DFIG, and I think now fourth or fifth PhD student is working with the DFIG also, like kind of thing. So that's about the control. Of course, I can tell you like typically that's the same thing which I already talked about. Okay, you use the voltage source converter. The DC link voltage is regulated by this converter because you may need to feed the power in this manner. If it is a rotary speed is high, and if your rotary speed is low, then you have to feed the power from this. So this converter will need the power to, according to slip power recovery, same principle is applicable here. But you can understand you require, as far as control is there, like a typically kind of 8 PI controller, you have to regulate the DC link voltage, you have to regulate the stator power factor unity by adjusting the active power, you have to put MPPT also from this. Okay, so typically you require a current control also. So you require normally what I mean, my student, we are working as a benchmark system that typically 8 PI controller are used in this system like also. So that's about the basic principle I already talked about. Like, okay, I mean, we have already limited time. So you have a rotor side converter which is responsible control of and flux of the machine, and active and reactive power control. By active power control, we do MPPT, that is responsible from torque or speed control, and the reactive power control is to make a power factor of stator unity. That is about the rotor side converter control. As far as the grid side converter is controlled, you have to maintain DC link voltage by active power, and you have to maintain unity power factor, that is controlled for reactive power on the grid side. So if the grid needs some reactive power required for the transformer or so, that you do with the help of that. Like, so you have a like a inner current control loop, like a rotor current, outer control loop. I told you torque and active power, all those for maximum power tracking for the rotary speed control. And these are, I told you, like you have a P regulator for rotor side control, that is for MPPT. By controlling the speed of your rotor, you may not be sensing the rotary speed, you might be estimating the speed, and you might be doing MPPT by this. So that is your vector control. Quadrature axis current means torque producing component, that the flux producing component for reactive power. 0 on the stator side, that is for reactive power control. That, and then you have a rotor side current to convert in current controller, and finally it comes as a voltage. Current control give you the voltage control, because this is, you are not operating the converter at very high frequency. I told you 1.8 kilowatt. So current regulator give you the output, and that virtually work on IDIQ current, and then you get the typically you transform the current, from the current you get the voltage VDBQ, and from VDBQ, of course, converting to your DC to into 3-phase voltages, which are responsible like your simple sinusoidal modulation, or people use the vector, I mean typically space vector also. Like, so that is the concept. Like, you have a lot of closed loop control. I told you, like a typically in DC link voltage, this is the simple control here, just to explain it. So you have a here one regulator, another regulator, then you have a 2 current regulator. This is only 4 regulator or 4 PI controller, only 4 stator converter. Similar 4 PI controller you require, maybe minimum PI controller for stator converter, also grid guide converter. So you require 8 PI controller, and you can understand how good, like you can quickly do the tuning of parameters of these controllers. So how much control excessively used. So I already talked about what you do with the active power of rotor converter MPPT, and reactive power, the stator power factor to be unit, like kind of things, or you can adjust the power factor also accordingly. I mean, then similarly you have a grid side current, I mean like current control, that you have a DC link voltage control, and reactive power on the grid side you can maintain. So here also you have a DC link voltage controller, I mean typically, which controls your, and you can give a reactive power control either for unity power factor on the grid, or you want to put some reactive power for the grid. So 2 controller here, one for DC link voltage control, we control the active power, another is reactive power. You can give the reference reactive power if you want to generate by this converter, or you can keep it 0 also for maybe unity power factor or so. And then again you have a DQ current, you have a sense current, which you have converted into DQ, then current controller on again on DC quantity, that is a vector control, and then you get the voltage here, and you can have a voltage control virtually from these references, convert to 3-phase voltage, and have a pendulum control virtually on. So 4 PI controller here, 4 PI controller there, so you have a 8 PI controller virtually in this PFIG as a benchmark. Like, I mean, how it is good, like about this, like, and this is typically how the control block diagram, which I mentioned you, I mean here, that you have a of the rotor side converter and grid side converter, and you sense the current here, you sense the rotor current, you can sense the typically the grid current, converter current on the grid side, and then control both in the, I mean several PI, which I already mentioned about it. Like, So I asked my student two things when we started working. One thing I would like to see that the operation of this from subsynchronous, supersynchronous also. Another, I mean, like how DFIG operated. Another I wanted, like, because at synchronous speed it has to operate as a synchronous generator also to inject by DC into the rotor current. You cannot say like, okay, it's an induction machine, so it will not work as a synchronous speed. Yes, it has to work as a synchronous generator, feeding the DC current into the rotor. So this is below synchronous speed. I told you 0.9 per unit with this speed of wind, and you can see the low frequency. I mean, like, and in this case, you will find the really the rotor power negative kind of things like below synchronous speed, and I mean, you can see the power generation on to the stator side or grid side, and the reactive power generator 0, like on the stator side. Or this is corresponding to super synchronous speed region 1.4 where 14 meter per second, and again you have a here reactive power 0, but you have active power generation. All those parameters are there, and your speed is obviously above synchronous speed like 1.25 per unit kind of thing. And you have exactly synchronous speed. Synchronous speed means like we call it 1 per unit, and you can see the rotor currents are DC current. Are you able to follow? Like how the grid voltage or typically the grid current, then your grid side converter current, your state current are there, but rotor current are DC current at exactly synchronous speed, and it work as a again the generator like a alternator working. I mean, like typically at synchronous speed, so it can work over a wide range of speed like. And that is the example I told you my to explain. If you operate the 2 megawatt wind turbine with 2 megawatt DFIG and use the 2 megawatt wind turbine with a 1.5 megawatt DFIG, how the losses and efficiency is enhanced. Here efficiency is around typically from different wind speed from 83 to 58%. Here it goes 96% like or so, because the machine you are using only 1.5 megawatt. Here you are using 2 megawatt machine, so its core losses as well as winding losses are here. Here it reduces because your losses are same, but your output power has increased. So that I wanted my student to, I mean, virtually just to explain analytically. There was no literature analytically by that time in the anywhere in the either paper or on the website. So we wanted to prove why we have to use the DFIG or so, and otherwise why variable speed. Like, so variable speed explanation probably is there further, which we publish IEEE transaction on sustainable energy, and this is the idea how into losses are reduced or efficiency is increased. Like. There may be other control scheme. I mean, voltage control scheme, many are there. These are typically same way. The all explanation are given in the literature also. And this is what I was talking about maximum power tracking. These are the different wind turbine characteristic with respect to turbine speed and typically the power one. So you have to operate on this red line, and that is the reason. If you don't operate red line, you are operating here. But if you bring it here on the same speed, at when wind speed is quite low, you will not be able to generate any much power. Here you are generating that much power. Think about like you can generate that much power. Here it is a negative power, okay, or so. So that is the reason you have to move on this characteristic and concept is of MPPT by operating, and that is the reason. I mean, it required to operate at variable speed, like I mean, and you get the more power generation or energy generation. This is a typical example. I ask my student to operate if you have a constant speed and if you have a variable speed, like typically. So I mean, like. A comparison between the two, that the how much power difference generation is there between the typically on stator and the net power generation corresponding to, like also with different stator and rotor power generation also. And this is the typical example. If you have using a variable speed, that is your DFIG, that much you generate it. If you are using a squirrel cage machine with fixed speed, you are not able to generate up to this much speed at all because you are operating constant speed. You will be able to generate only in this much range. But with the variable speed, you are able to generate over a wide speed range. This is the speed in meter per second. That is the reason that explain I asked analytically my student to prove. And we took a site in Tamil Nadu, Jakayu site, from where we took a wind speed data which are available in meteorological data every, I think they have given every 5 minutes. We took 10 minutes data and then prove it that what should be the at different time of 24 hours. Okay, 24 hours here, how much time it should operate on this speed within the 24 hours, and how much is the generation of the DFIG, what is the energy available also. So that clearly explains why you can see this is around 50% more energy when you operate at wind speed. So this, I mean, just to analytically prove, I asked my student to take a wind speed data and just take a one variable speed, maybe DFIG, another maybe a constant speed like a maybe squirrel cage machine, and that explains why we have to go to variable speed generation. Like, I mean, people talk about, but you have to give analytical proof also for both. Like, I mean, so if you use the PMSG, you have to use again the double the converter. PMSG not necessary the gear. I mean, you can use the single stage gear or no gear, depends on machine design. But again, you use the full speed full converter. Similarly, I explain square cage machine, like I mean also here. So that is about the. Similarly, you can use the in some of the machine maybe diode rectifier because power is not going to flow, and another you can use either thyristor converter or you can use the any other converter. So one converter can be used for smaller rating, not larger rating, like also because PMSG have a permanent excitation, so there is not necessary that you have to go like a typically. So to reduce the cost in low speed, you can use PMLDCG, permanent battery DC generator that diode rectifier support very well, or you can use the typically your PMSG with you can reduce the cost in low rating, not high rating also. So anyhow, that's about the typically people use the diode rectifier and VSC also or thyristor converter also or both VSC, PMSC. I mean boost converter typically after diode rectifier, and then you can have so different arrangement with the gearbox and all are there. So PMSG use or both VSC. If large rating there, we use the both VSC. You may use the single stage gear or no gear, but both voltage source converter to put like on take a benefit similar to square cage machine or current source converter on both the side, which we already talked about induction machine and with proper control. So a lot of literature is available and reduce the 1 lag on both the side of converter, that's concept, but that increases virtually your rating and the capacitor midpoint is required like on. So these are some of the technique which already for PMSG available in the literature. People have used of different kind of control also. So that was about variable speed. Some tips. Now I will go a little bit only on your isolated energy conversion, why it is required, and what are the possible applications. So there also we can have a fixed speed and variable speed. I mean we work out with the both fixed speed and variable speed also. And off grid they are used. I mean like a typically they are used 50 to 50 watt 10 kilowatt. That is the typical rating of wind turbine used for battery pump charging or used for water pumping. Battery charging may be in your telecom tower station or other application also, or maybe water pumping typically, or in an isolated case like you can call it like it goes to 10 to 200 kilowatt. So there are plenty of application I'll show you. So these are typical example of wind farm of rating, quite small rating prices of this much of energy. I mean typically in US dollar like a, I mean typically 0.4 cents to 10 cents per kilowatt hours, and what is the cost of total and what is the cost of different feasibility. So they are using of course little higher cost also, I mean like in small rating. And these are typical example you can think about like they are used for even in I mean like standalone or isolated one. They have been used in India also like 50 kilowatt wind turbine in West Bengal. The major application have been to reduce the diesel fuel in telecom towers, or in Canada, I mean like again 50 kilowatt typically, or typically telecom tower of Arizona in US, or in Brazil for remote village, community power supply system, water pumping and all that, or in Chile. So I mean these are the photograph of those installation. So even in your India, US, Canada, US, Brazil, and Chile. So there are a lot of installation offshore. I mean these are typically off-grid installation for telecom power, water pumping system, or part of hybrid system, also like a microgrid. So you can have a fixed speed or variable speed. And chain range, of course, variable speed comes like you may have a load, all those issues which normally happen with the grid connection also. But then, I mean, your converter and generator system should have all these. We can use all these machines also. Even DFIG also developed for 50 kilowatt in those applications or something like that. So you can use square gauge machine with fixed speed with capacitor, and you can use the battery and voltage source converter and load can all load compensation, voltage regulation, frequency regulation, voltage source converter does with the battery. Okay, because wind speed may vary, and when wind speed is low, you can take power from here from battery. When wind speed is high, you can charge the battery and you can feed the load. Load may be unbalanced, non-linear, linear. This converter takes care so that here, I mean, control you put here so that you are not injecting the harmonics in the generator or capacitor, but it's fulfilled by this converter itself. Like, oh, we did a lot of work in that area. My student used, I mean, this kind of configuration, or you have a like a, with the transformer isolation also. I mean, single phase configuration also of different transformer connections for this constant speed wind generation, like typically also. And with the proper control, we are able to get not only simulation but even a multiple machine, not only one machine you can have, and control can be one with the multiple machine also. It's a fixed speed kind of things like also. So even for PMSG also we work out also. And then you may have a variable speed also. Variable speed can be, you may use the PMLDC brushless, then you can diode rectifier and voltage source converter feeding the independent load also, which I was mentioning about telecom tower or water supply system. With MPPT also you can do, because you are operating at variable speed also. So you can use 2 voltage source converter even with the induction generator, which already shown, and this may be load with the popper filter. Also here you might have here the battery also, if you want to put it on the with the another converter and feed to the typically to the independent load also of all these kind of things like. So these kind of scheme, or you can use the on this PMSD only. I mean, because permanent excitation diode rectifier by boost converter, they do the MPPT and regulate the feed to the constant voltage, similar to like a solar. You can think about like a solar with the PMSG, and then inverter is connected, typically giving you a with a popper filter, give you a local generation here with the voltage or grid. You can feed to the different load, like I mean also. So typical example with the both the converter you can have. So they are used in standalone system also. We work out in my student also work out even battery on the DC link. So you can charge here whatever power you require here, and this converter can be even, you can have a multiple, you can integrate with the hydro or other kind of resources also. With power control you can do MPPT also, as you do the grid connected system with the 4-wire system configuration. All those configuration you can typically have it here with power control with the, I mean, my lot of students work on these all such kind of scheme with the all these system like I mean also. So lot of literature is available for all these, even for standalone system also with DFIG also. So we work out with the DFIG. I mean with the typically with the bandy only with the single converter of rotor side, not directly stator connected. Your bandy can exchange the power through that also, and then we have a like lot of experimental result also related to that. I mean virtually with the setup that machine have produced probably maybe around 20 PhD in our lab starting from 1970 to now. This machine we can have a multi-rotor, and for some time we put the initially the wound rotor in 8, then we put the synchronous machine rotor. People use computerless machine. Then we put again the DFI, I mean slip ring rotor for DFIG. So this machine have gone from 1970 to now last 50 years. It could have produced probably, you can think about every 5 years one PhD. So probably it could have produced like a in 50 years more than 10 or 12 PhD order of that on the same machine, like apart from I mean kind of things like at the moment we are using as a DFIG of part of microgrid also. And these are the some of the result, even load unbalancing, all those in standalone operation. My student have U23 and wind variation also. And typically the proof that okay, it's a rotor current, 3-phase rotor current, that if speed passes through synchronous speed, goes low speed to above synchronous speed. At synchronous speed is a kind of DC, or you reduce the speed of the wind turbine also, how it goes from like again from slip frequency to DC and then come back to slip frequency on rotor speed also. I mean, student some of my students use the direct power control also of DFIG. The concept just like a DTC, there direct power control is also there. Dr. Naidu, who is in now assistant professor in BHU. I mean, like, so he worked on this scheme with the your direct power control, similar to DTC. I mean, like, because it's a generator, so we call power line. And then we have gone to sensorless operation of also of this DFIG with MRC and different algorithm kind of things like there with simulation. And then implementation also. I mean, it worked well, implementation also without much problem with the DFIG standalone operation of this sensorless as well as the rotor speed power variation or something like that. Like, I mean, like, or connected to the grid, all these fashion with different power rating, with the battery also on the reselling kind of concept we work out like also. So with this, I would like to probably converge it. I'm sorry that in between we lost the connection, and I hope you could have got some idea. I'll be very happy if you have some specific question like that. Yes, Professor, if you have some questions, then we can have it, okay? Professor Yan? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, like for I mean, there may be interruption 10-15 minutes, but if there are any question, I will be happy to answer. Okay. But now this all wind generation we are working with all the machines. Okay, not only DFIG, PMSG, PMLDC, squirrel cage machine, synchronous reluctance machine recently we introduced for the wind also. Okay, so all machine which you can think about other than DC machine we are using for wind generation. But now we are not only doing wind power generation, it is a part of microgrid now. Sorry for any of connectivity. I mean, India net is very bad. Okay. Now I have to only operate with my mobile connection hotspot. I don't know. I don't understand. As my student, we are not the people of this technology, but I don't know. So you have any specific question, I will be happy to answer. Somebody have to coordinate, like, okay.
The questions,
Hello?
sir, by unmuting your mic one by one. Yes, yes, go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, can a grid side or rotor side, the compensation signals can apply by instant and symmetrical component theory? It is possible.
You are talking about DFIG? I think can it be somebody moderator? I think who is the nearest to which machine have been? I'm sorry, you can put the I can see the question. If you can put in the box, like, or somebody can repeat it. Like.
Yes, yes, please put your questions in the chat. I will pronounce it to the sir. Please put your questions in the chat one by one. Sir, there is one question. Which machine has the most efficient energy systems? This is one question from Mr. Umar.
Like I can tell you, like it is very difficult to say which is most efficient because people are using PMSG also, people are using DFIG also, people are using even a conventional synchronous machine also. Okay, but I can tell you like why DFIG 75% industry are using the one of the major reason with the DFIG. I may be little biased, but we are working on all machines, so I need not to be biased with my one student to another student or another machine. Frankly speaking, why DFIG is, I told you the reason why it has become more efficient because machine rating is lower, typically around 50% lower than the turbine rating. So your machine rating, you can call it, I mean, you are generating 150% power, but losses are not more than 100% machine, like, okay. So it supersedes the efficiency of conventional synchronous machine. It does not use the magnet. Are you able to follow? So the machine now, I mean, manufactured in country like India also, like, we are not dependent on any country for magnets or so. So that is the reason parallel lot of technology are developed. And double converter, of course, you can use the squirrel cage machine. But I can tell you squirrel cage machine rating have to be equal to the even slightly larger than the wind turbine rating. Okay. So losses of course cannot be reduced drastically down. And moreover, of course we are operating with the variable frequency, but still you can't get a such high typically the frequency, like, okay. Don't worry, I mean you will get the copy of slide, okay. I mean,
Sir, there is another question from Vasudeva Naidu. He is asking about the, let me, sir, frame his question to you. Can we apply side instantaneous symmetrical component theory on the control strategy? I think this is the question from Mr. Vasudeva Naidu.
Why not? Why not? You can. Okay, there is no problem. Okay.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you, thank you.
You can use. I have used state symmetrical component in my PhD in 1980. Okay. The simulation. Of course, that time analysis only, but my many students have used even for active filter or D-STATCOM. This is instantaneous symmetrical component theory. So you can use. There is no problem. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Only controller design may be little difficult because those are AC quantity of variable frequency. I mean, the reason being why we use vector control, because the vector control is the DC quantity like DQ. Now, once you convert into DQ, it's a DC quantity. So PI control design becomes very easy. And I told you there are 8 PI controller. So if you have a AC quantity, then the design of controller is difficult compared to on the DC quantity. So when you have a vector control or DDC, you have a DC quantity to control. Nah? That's the reason I can tell you what is the reason why people are really going only for vector control or DDC, na? Because those are DC quantity. Okay.
Yes, yes, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. This is Sharma from Matrush Engineering College, Hyderabad. Sir, what are the best techniques to avoid disconnection of DFIG from the grid under fault conditions to improve LVRT capability as well as limit the fault current?
I'm not able to appreciate the. I mean, like Nowadays, all the renewable, whether it is a solar or wind, the new standard has come that you need not to disconnect. Only you have to operate the converter in a manner that under fault they feed the required reactive power. Are able to follow? Because under fault condition, the system needs the reactive power. The active power, what converter can allow you to feed, that much you can feed only. Are able to follow? Like that's why you call it like a, because LVRT is nothing but you have to feed some reactive power from the converter to the system. Are able to follow? Whether you feed from the your stator side grid side converter or you feed from the rotor side converter, operating it in leading reactive power, and stator also can give limited reactive power to the system. Are able to follow? Like so, those are, I mean, like of course, interesting issues without exceeding the rating of the converter, without exceeding the machine. I mean, typically the current or so, because LVRT means voltage is low. So voltage is not issue. Only it is a current is issue. So you don't exceed the current in the winding of the machine, neither in the converter. Then is that much power, how much reactive power it can allow to feed, you can feed it. Okay, or so. I hope it is clear. Like, okay.
Okay. Any other question from any other participant? Sir, one question from my side: how this DSpace is helping you, sir, as compared to DSP?
How?
Sir, the most of the practicals in your lab is using DSpace, sir. So should we also go for DSpace rather than DSP, sir, or we can use both? You recommend, sir?
It does not matter, as you can use both, but I can tell you the DSP cost is around 3,000, like a $39, hardly $20 to $30, na?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
If it is a 3 to 4,000, let's say 4,000, okay, and the DSpace is 17 lakh.
Yes,
okay.
sir, yes.
If we are using in place of 5,000 or 4,000, 17 lakh, you are investing for what? Because you don't want to devote the time for programming of it, tuning of parameters. The DSpace allow you for the research. I can tell you, you have a limited time for research now, like a PhD student. You can't push him more than him or her more than typically 3 to 5, maximum 5 years. The background is very weak. So it means, and you can understand if it is an electrical person, he may not be knowing lot of DSP, lot of programming and other things. So DSpace allow you to go very quick prototyping, because whatever MATLAB you have simulated, the same thing goes into the DSpace. So it saves your time to learn the DSP, its programming, tuning of parameter. DSpace allow you to tune your parameter. I mean, like with the mouse. Even PI control again, you want to change, you can change directly from the mouse on screen of PC. Okay, you know, to learn any language, you can, whatever MATLAB model you have made for simulation in MATLAB for your system, same model directly goes of the control part into DSpace. So you save a lot of time. I can tell you like what the facility I created for last 1 decade in the lab. Probably experimental takes 1 week or 2 weeks, depending upon, of course, how much they are exposed with the machine or converter. However, the simulation takes 3 to 4 months. The reason being, first you perceive a new idea, and new idea means you have to simulate to understand the concept, to learn the control. It takes 3 to 4 months to simulate the system. But the implementation, the method which I put it, you have to collect together all the components. You take some help from the senior for implementation. Implementation takes, 3 days to at least not more than 15 days for implementation. So if it is a repeat prototyping there, that is the one of the success, people appreciate about it. But for that you have to provide such kind of tools like which I told you, like a DSpace. Then I hope you will be able to appreciate about it, like, okay, something. And people in case of this system now, whether it is like a relay to power electronics or your experimental system, people appreciate that you must have to provide the experimental result, because if you are putting something new algorithm, they say simulation is not enough. Okay, you have to prove the experimentally also this. Not only proving experimentally, now because already reasonable literature is available, they say if you are using a new control technique, you have to compare with the previous control technique, that why you are using this new control technique, to demonstrate experimentally that this is has these additional features or benefit. I hope you understand what I am saying. Like, okay, that is the reason we have to think about the DSP in place of DSP. If you can manage with the DSP and you can devote the time, you can pick up, you can learn in BTech and master, because at PhD level we consider you are coming after master. All the DSP learning, okay, you could have done at undergraduate level, at postgraduate level, but if you have not learned, we cannot say that you are not employable or you are not right person for the research. If you have enough knowledge of your area, typically like a electronics or your machine, then of course you are fit for research. But certainly for working for something to implement practically, which is not taught in the classroom, I can tell you, nobody taught in the classroom like a DSP processor programming. Nobody teach you the DSPs. You have to learn yourself in minimum time. Are you able to follow? Like, otherwise, if you start learning, it takes 1 year to you, more than 1 year. Are you able to follow? And many my previous students, the starting student really suffered. But now it is legacy of the batches to one batch, senior help to junior. Okay, they help each other and they go very quick implementation. Like, are you able to follow? That's the reason they are able to give very quick output also. So your time is limited. You can't control your background of the student from where they are coming. I will not comment on that, because most of you people sitting around might be engaged in their research and they might be facing this kind of problem. Why they are facing problem now, they can probably appreciate and understand about it. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Any other question? There is no question. I think then we can stop it.
Yes, sir. I think.
Sir Rehan, I think I'm sorry in between for the break, but this was unavoidable because I mean the net and probably link and all those is not controllable by us. We have a very poor network connection. Of course, we run very economical models and all that.
Sir, I am very thankful to you.
If there is no further question, then probably I can stop. Okay.
Sir, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. It was a privilege listening to you, sir. I am
Okay,
listening to you.
thanks very much. I mean, for you, of course, I understand solar. Lot of people will speak. Since we work in the wind also, so I don't hesitate to operate, even talk about in wind also. Okay, then thank you very much. Okay, I'm
Thank you,
just
sir. Thank you.
disconnecting. Like, I mean.